Coming up, discover how a fatal incident on a golf course changed the medical landscape of the Coachella Valley. In the late 1950s, several prominent members of the community who were golfers and involved in real estate created the Palm Springs Desert Golf Classic to attract Los Angeles area residents to the desert. According to area developer Ernie Dunleavy, residents in the central Coachella Valley were concerned that the nearest hospitals were on either end of the valley, a significant distance in an emergency. Those concerns became real when, in 1961, the vice chairman of the Campbell's Soup Company had a medical emergency.
It was founded by a health crisis. Clark Swanson died while playing golf with President Eisenhower, which initiated this need. Why isn't there a hospital here? I mean, they were playing golf at Thunderbird Country Club, which is just down the street from us on Bob Hope Drive. And the closest hospital at the time was Desert Hospital up in Palm Springs. And that was just too far to save his life.
At that time, there were 3 hospitals in the valley. One was Desert Hospital in Palm Springs, and there were 2 hospitals in Indio, but nothing between. President Eisenhower agreed to allow his name to be used, and Bob Hope donated the land for the future Eisenhower Medical Center.
Many people felt that we needed a hospital here in Rancho Mirage. Bob and Dolores were approached about this piece of land that the campus is now on, and they agreed to donate the property. The property at the time was nothing but desert and date trees and orange trees and so forth and so on. But Bob did own the land, and so he granted the rights to all of this property, which was out in the middle of literally nowhere.
On June 29, 1965, the Eisenhower Board of Trustees was formed, consisting of 20 members, to get the hospital underway. Bob Hope volunteered his wife Dolores to serve on the board, as his schedule would not permit the formidable commitment of time. From the moment Dolores Hope agreed, her legendary and vivacious spirit guided the founding and growth of Eisenhower Medical Center.
A great deal of it was the inspiration and work of Dolores Hope in putting the center together.
You know, when I first started, Bob Hope was around a lot, and his wife was a chairman of the board at that time, an honorary chairman of the board, and so she was very visible. She was very active with the hospital, with the decorations, with the whole operation.
The original name was to be Palm Desert Community Hospital, but 6 months after the board was formed, it was renamed Eisenhower Medical Center, after Freeman Gosden, Amos of Amos and Andy fame, and a golfing buddy of President Eisenhower, obtained permission from the President and Mrs. Eisenhower.
When Frank Sinatra's very good friend, Freeman Gosden, was here as a patient, I took care of him in the critical care unit when he had a heart attack. And when he was transferred up to his room upstairs, we'd go visit him because they were charming people. And Frank Sinatra had decorated the whole room with pictures. They were just all over the place of fun times and friends and such as that. And then Dolly Sinatra would send over food for all the people that would come visit him, and also for the staff, which we always, that was always kind of fun.
In September 1966, Edward Durell Stone, named the most versatile designer of his generation by Time magazine, was chosen as project architect.
I think in the early stages of the hospital being built, the architecture that was planned has lasted now for all of these years. It has not been outdated. It has a very elegant style to it. The whole campus fits together very well.
On March 28, 1969, President Eisenhower died at age 78 after a lengthy illness. The following summer, Mamie Eisenhower was elected honorary chairman of Eisenhower Medical Center to fill the spot her husband had left vacant. In November 1969, Dolores Hope spearheaded the beginning of the auxiliary by inviting a small but enthusiastic group of women for tea at her Palm Springs home. Dolores Hope invited 12 friends to make plans for an Eisenhower Medical Center Ladies Auxiliary. Each invited additional friends, and more than 135 women attended.
The auxiliary began before the hospital even began. From there, it grew into a group that decided we need to do something to raise money to build the very first building. And now they are so integrated into every aspect of what we do in this hospital. We're just so proud of our volunteers.
To date, having contributed over $20 million and more than 4 million service hours, the Eisenhower Medical Center Auxiliary has performed legendary volunteer and fundraising services that have made Eisenhower Medical Center a success. On November 26, 1969, ground was broken for the hospital. Bob Hope presided over the ceremony, attended by 4,000 people.
It was very exciting days to see the groundbreaking ceremonies, and then subsequently meeting all of the board members responsible for getting the hospital off to its start.
In September 1970, construction also began on the 3-level, 36,000 square foot Probst Professional Building, also designed by Edward Durell Stone to harmonize with the hospital's architecture. In early 1971, the first Medical Advisory Committee was formed to consult on medical staff bylaws and establish policy decisions affecting patient care.
When I moved here, essentially all that existed was sand and the early structure of the first building. In March of '71, I was put on that committee, and the chairman of the committee was Dolores Hope. And for a young man from Chicago to walk into a meeting with Dolores Hope was an unbelievable situation. The first thing she said to me was that you're too young to be a physician. She stopped saying that long ago.
On November 27, 1971, President Richard Nixon, Mamie Eisenhower, and dignitaries dedicated the 138-bed Eisenhower Memorial Hospital before a crowd of 15,000 residents who gathered to witness this major milestone in the development of the Coachella Valley.
But this is a great day for this community, ladies and gentlemen, for the people who have worked so hard to make this happen. This is the day to make Marcus Welby green with envy. And I want you to know that you're part of an historical first, a hospital being built without the aid of Danny Thomas.
Among the Bob Hope Classic Tournament, the Eisenhower Medical Center Auxiliary, and numerous private fundraising events held internationally, philanthropic support was truly inspirational.
Yeah, there was a lot of celebrity around here. There's no question about it. When you have somebody like Frank Sinatra living down the street and President Ford living down the street, any function you went to here in the Valley, you would see celebrities and former presidents.
A number of really national leaders, I mean, whether it's the Hopes or the Firestones or the Annenbergs, really, I have to say I'm really impressed with their vision because they saw the need here and really looked ahead many, many years to what this valley was going to need, and were part of bringing it to pass. And so every organization has a beginning. I think very few have a beginning where they have names such as I just mentioned.
Over the years, the hospital footprint grew to include the Autry Tower, the Andrew Allen Surgical Pavilion, and the John L. Sinn Wing. And the medical center expanded to offer numerous outpatient services on the campus, as well as the Annenberg Center for Health Sciences, Betty Ford Center, and the Barbara Sinatra Children's Center.
Our building, I can still remember the day the Annenberg Center started, and they had a meeting there, and buses were unloading doctors who were coming in. That was a sense of pride that we had reached that milestone in medical education.
While maintaining the beauty of its healing environment, Eisenhower Medical Center developed facilities for its programs in oncology, in the Eisenhower Lucy Kirchie Cancer Center, orthopedics in the Harry and Diane Rinker Building, cardiovascular in the Hal B. Wallace Building, and neurosciences in the Eisenhower Neuroscience Institute. And patients' needs for services, from primary care to physical therapy, were met with a number of outpatient buildings, including the Dolores Hope Outpatient Care Center. Most recently, Eisenhower opened the Greg and Stacy Ranker Pavilion, a 24 all-suite inpatient care area, and expanded the Tennessee Emergency Department to meet the needs of the growing region. The Eisenhower Ranker Wellness Center serves cardiac rehabilitation patients. The Eisenhower George and Julia Argyros Health Center opened in La Quinta in early 2010. The Eisenhower Walter and Lenore Annenberg Pavilion was dedicated in April 2010.
50 years from now, when people talk about Eisenhower Medical Center, I can see them saying, this was a place where people really made a difference in creating an oasis of world-class healthcare.